TV. This is the first in our Laugh Pig Kitchen Basics programs. We're going to talk about the basic things that you need to know in the kitchen. Today, we're going to talk about flour. This is the Flour Power Hour. Are we talking about this kind of flour?
I don't think so, because why do we have this kind of flour that we bake instead of this kind of plant?
There you go. That's a flour. These are flours, and it's spelled different, isn't it? And for today's purpose, what kind of flour are we talking about? Where's our flour coming from?
Wheat. Wheat.
Wheat. We are fortunate in our house that nobody has sensitivity to wheat products, so we use wheat flour, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But technically, any grain can be ground into a powder to make flour. You can make rice flour, you can make oat flour, you can make corn flour, you can make almond flour. Yep, you just grind it up into a powder and it makes it into flour. What are we talking about grinding up into a powder? We're talking about grains. These are wheat berries.
I studied grains at school.
I'm glad you studied grains at school.
They
See these little wheat
like,
berries?
They kind of look like seeds that you put in the ground.
They do look like seeds that you put in the ground.
But my mom said that they kind of look like rice, and I was like,
they look a little bit like flat rice, kind of.
But they do kind of feel like
But these are wheat berries. And this is what comes straight from the plant. Now,
when you grind them up?
When you grind these up, it makes flour. We don't have a grain mill that we're going to use today, but we're going to use a coffee grinder, and we're going to grind up a few. Why don't you pour about half of those in there? We're going to make our own flour.
Is that good enough?
Yeah. Is it on there good?
I
Yep.
think so.
Okay. Put it on there and grind it up.
Blend away.
Here we go. We're making some flour.
Grind, 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 grind.
There you go. Now you're getting it. Okay, let's see what that looks like. How does it look?
It looks kind of like the same thing, except with that a little mixed in.
Really? It is powdery, isn't it?
Pour it into there and I'll show them.
Look at that. So this would be
Like
whole
this
wheat flour. Very basic whole wheat flour, because we took a whole wheat berry, we ground it into powder, but it's still rough, isn't it? It still feels kind of rough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's because all of the parts of the wheat berry, the little seed or grain, are in there.
And by the way, it kind of looks like this poured in there, except it's like little tiny pieces of it, and this mixed in with it, and a little brown. If you guys can tell, I don't know, but it
And
just
since
does
we're
look
talking about whole wheat flour, meaning that it comes from the whole berry of wheat, see how they're kind of brown, a little bit brown, kind of golden.
like wheat.
Then we have a couple of examples here of whole wheat flour. See how this says whole wheat? That means they use that whole seed to make this, and they ground it. Yep, they ground it up. So feel what this feels like in comparison to what we just made.
This feels really soft.
That's really soft, isn't it? Take a little bit and rub between your fingers, but you still feel there's still a little roughness there, isn't there?
Yeah, and there's like tiny pieces of little brown.
Little tiny pieces of brown, because we used the whole wheat berry. Now, this is also, oops, I'm grabbing the wrong one. This is also, what does this bag say right here?
Whole wheat pastry.
That's the only word that's different, isn't it? Pastry. Yeah. Whole wheat pastry flour. They still use the whole seed, but this is a much softer wheat berry than this was.
I was about to say that does not look like it has any brown stuff.
It doesn't look like it has brown stuff. These two look different, don't they? This one and this one.
I would compare it this one.
Feel of it. Put it between your fingers. Put this one between fingers and that, and you tell me which one feels softer. Which one feels more powdery?
Yeah. This one.
This one feels more powdery. This was made from a softer wheat. This would also be a good time to have a little bit of a chat about gluten that's in wheat. Have you heard the word gluten? Where have you heard the word?
On commercials, like, this is gluten-free or something.
This is a gluten-free product, which means there are a lot of people out in the world that cannot eat gluten. Their bodies, it's kind of like having an allergy.
Like
a little bit like having an allergy. We don't have it because we're lucky. But gluten, the real thing that gluten is in wheat, and it's a protein. And it comes from the Latin word for glue. It holds everything together. And it makes our bread dough elastic. That's why our bread dough can rise and not pop. And
remember when I said, when we were on a trip, these are gluten-free Doritos.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Silly girl. So, anyway, while we're talking about gluten.
Yeah.
Gluten is what helps make our bread dough elastic. So when you have whole wheat bread flour or all-purpose white bread flour, it has more gluten in it. So your bread dough will be more elastic, which means it has more protein in it.
Protein.
Because gluten is a protein. Now, this
Now
whole wheat pastry flour made from a softer wheat,
yes,
it does not have very much gluten in it. That's what makes it good for muffins and pancakes and biscuits and things like that instead of bread. So, if you will read to me, this is our whole wheat flour. Read right here where it says protein. How much does it say right there?
6G.
6G, which is 6 grams. 6 grams of protein in a serving, which is a quarter cup. 6 grams of protein in this one. So that means that's got quite a bit of gluten. That would make pretty good bread.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at the whole wheat pastry flour, still made from the whole wheat.
3G?
3 grams in the whole wheat pastry flour. So this has half of the protein and gluten in it that this does. So this would not be a good thing for a loaf of bread, would it? Because it wouldn't rise very well. It wouldn't hold together very well.
Because it would be too soft, and if it puffed up, it would fall down, and
it
would look
would
like
be too soft.
Like
but isn't that interesting? Both of these are made from that wheat berry, but they're very different. Now we're about to get even more different because we're going to look at all-purpose flour, which is what most people are way more familiar with. Now, look at the color between this. This is
now that's
all-purpose
white.
flour.
Really right.
It looks really white compared to this, doesn't it? Now compare the feel.
That's soft.
It's so soft. Would you like to know why this all-purpose flour is so much softer than this brown whole wheat flour?
After I get my hands clean.
After you get your hands clean. When we make all-purpose flour, they take this hard brown part out of it.
What hard brown?
That's on the outside.
Oh.
This hard brown part. That's what makes this brown. See, when they take this part off, then that becomes way more white.
Oh, that's because it doesn't have any, because they didn't do anything, and they just grind that up for hours and hours, and then they just grind this up for a few minutes, and they took the shell off.
Exactly, you take the shell off of it.
And it turns into very white
flour that's really soft. It makes your biscuits and cakes so soft.
It smells good.
But there's one downside to this. Do you know what it is?
That you can't make bread out of it.
You can make bread out of it. It still works just fine.
I don't know.
The downside would be that when they take the hulls off of this, the outside, to make this so soft, lots of vitamins and minerals and nutrients go out with it. So this, as pretty and soft and wonderful as it is, does not have the nutrition that this does in it. So it means this is not as good for our bodies as this is. That's the only downside, is this is not as good for our bodies as this is. So what they do when they make this, See how that says right there? What does that say right there?
Vitamin and triple
enriched. Vitamin enriched. That means when they grind this and take the vitamins out, then they put vitamins back in to try to make this a little bit healthier for you.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's kind of silly, but
for grown-ups, really?
for grown-ups, really. But that's how that works. That's how it works. Is when all-purpose white flour is made, a lot of the nutrients are lost because the rough part of the grain is left out. So they add vitamins back into it to try to make it a little bit more healthy. Okie dokie, does all that make sense?
So, literally, we're talking about wheat.
That's right. We have one more interesting thing sitting here in front of us, speaking of wheat. Can you read what that says?
This?
Yep, that red line right there.
Says 100% organic.
That's called einkorn.
That's it.
That's a weird word, isn't it?
Now I get why Tennessee's mixed up with other language.
This has more to do with kind of what's happening with some of the weird gluten stuff and weird reactions to flour products that people are having, those allergic reactions and stuff. Some people believe that it's because the wheat that we use for this, and this, most of our wheat, doesn't have as much nutrition in it as it used to a long time ago because of the way we farm it and stuff like that. This came from Italy. This was grown in Italy. This is einkorn wheat that supposedly, according to these folks, has not been changed for like 12,000 years. This is the exact same way it was grown back then. It's the exact same product that it was back then. Supposed to be better for our bodies, and we're supposed to get more nutrition and stuff out of it. I don't know for sure, but I just know you see more of this product, more of this einkorn wheat out there because it is not as processed.
It says protein, only 4 grains.
4 grams of protein, which isn't bad for what's considered an all-purpose wheat.
I said 4 grains.
It actually means 4 grams. So, all right, there's our little flour segment. Would you like to talk about a few things that we make with flour around here that you really enjoy? What do we make with flour that you like?
And can I tell them one thing?
How about you tell them some of the stuff that we like to make with flour?
Okay. We like to make bread and stuff.
Bread.
And
what else do we make with flour?
Muffins.
Muffins.
We can also make like those little croissants. Is that what they're called?
Croissants. Croissant. We can make some croissants.
We can make croissants.
Cookies. Do we use it in cookies?
Yeah, we can also make. Hang on.
Pancakes.
Pancakes. We can make waffles. We can make
dumplings.
We can make dumplings. We can make
noodles.
We can make
noodles. We can make banana bread.
We can make banana bread. We can make bread. Wait, yeah, I already said that.
We can make waffles.
I already said that.
Did we say biscuits?
Oh no, we can
make biscuits. There's endless things we can make with flour, isn't there?
Funny thing, we can make tomatoes out of flour.
I don't think we can make tomatoes out of flour. All right. I think we got it covered. You feel like you have learned something about flour?
A good thing I did.
What did you learn about flour?
That there are all kinds of different, even though they're
made out of the same thing.
Yeah.
There are very different kinds of flour, aren't there? Because see, there's even different bread flours. There's also a cake flour. Cake flour has even less protein in it than the pastry flour. It's really, really fine and soft. Makes those wonderful cakes and cupcakes.
I want to see
all right.
This one.
All right. Our flour power hour is over. Give them a wave. Have a great day. Laugh, pig.